The old house stood as a relic of bygone eras, its walls whispering tales of forgotten secrets and buried horrors. Among its many mysteries, the basement held a special place, hidden away beneath the creaking floorboards, a labyrinth of darkness waiting to be explored. I, like many before me, had dismissed the basement as nothing more than a storage space filled with dusty relics of the past. But as the days grew shorter and the shadows grew longer, a curiosity began to gnaw at me, urging me to uncover the secrets that lay hidden beneath the surface. It was on a stormy night, with the wind howling like a chorus of lost souls, that I finally succumbed to the call of the basement. Armed with nothing but a flickering flashlight, I descended the creaky wooden stairs, each step echoing ominously in the darkness. The air grew heavy with the scent of damp earth and decay as I made my way deeper into the bowels of the house. Cobwebs brushed against my face like icy fingers, and shadows danced along the walls, casting sinister shapes upon the cold stone floor. But it was not the darkness that sent shivers down my spine, nor the eerie silence that enveloped me like a suffocating blanket. It was the whispering, faint at first, like the distant murmur of a forgotten memory, but growing louder and more insistent with each passing moment. "Hello?" I called out, my voice trembling in the oppressive stillness. But there was no response, only the echo of my own fear reverberating through the empty space. Undeterred, I pressed on, my curiosity now tinged with a growing sense of dread. That's when I saw it. A door, hidden away in a corner of the basement, its surface warped and weathered with age. With a trembling hand, I reached out and turned the rusty knob, the hinges groaning in protest as the door swung open to reveal the darkness beyond. What lay on the other side was beyond anything I could have imagined. The room was small and cramped, its walls lined with shelves filled with jars of strange, preserved specimens. But it was the figure standing in the center of the room that caught my eye, a mannequin dressed in tattered clothes and missing its head. I recoiled in horror, my heart pounding in my chest as I stumbled backward. But as I turned to flee, I felt something grab hold of my ankle, pulling me to the ground with a force that sent stars dancing behind my eyes. I screamed, thrashing wildly as I tried to break free from whatever unseen force held me captive. And then, just as suddenly as it had begun, it stopped. I lay there on the cold stone floor, gasping for air as I struggled to make sense of what had just happened. But the true horror was yet to come. For as I stumbled to my feet and fled from the basement, I glanced back over my shoulder to see the mannequin standing at the top of the stairs, its head now firmly in place and its eyes fixed on mine. And in that moment, I knew that the true terror of the basement was not the darkness or the whispers or even the mannequin itself. It was the realization that some secrets are best left buried, for to uncover them is to invite madness into your soul. In the heart of the old house, where shadows lingered like ghosts of the past, there lay a basement steeped in mystery. Its walls whispered tales of forgotten sorrows, and its darkness held secrets too dreadful to be spoken of in the light of day. But it wasn't until I heard the music that I truly understood the depths of its darkness. It began as a faint melody, a haunting tune that danced on the edges of my consciousness. At first, I dismissed it as a trick of the wind or the settling of the old house. But as the days passed and the melody grew louder and more insistent, I could no longer ignore its siren call. On a night thick with the promise of rain, I ventured into the depths of the basement, my heart pounding with a mixture of trepidation and curiosity. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth and decay, and the dim light of my flickering flashlight cast long, twisting shadows along the cold stone walls. I searched every corner, every crevice, but found nothing until I stumbled upon it, hidden away in a forgotten alcove, an old music box, its wooden exterior weathered and worn with age. With trembling hands, I lifted the lid, and the room was filled with the ethereal strains of its haunting melody. But as the final notes faded away, a chill ran down my spine. For standing before me was a figure cloaked in darkness, its eyes gleaming with malice. I tried to scream, but no sound escaped my lips as the figure advanced, its every step sending waves of terror crashing over me. I stumbled backward, my heart racing as I watched in horror as the figure reached out towards me, its fingers stretching through the darkness as if seeking to drag me into the abyss. And then, just as suddenly as it had appeared, it vanished, leaving me alone in the darkness. I fled from the basement, the echoes of the music still ringing in my ears. But the true horror came later that night when I awoke to find the music box sitting on my bedside table, its lid open and the melody playing softly in the darkness. And as I reached out to close it, I felt a cold hand grasp my own, pulling me into the depths of a nightmare from which I feared I would never awaken. For in the darkness of that basement, I had unleashed a darkness beyond my comprehension, a darkness that hungered for my soul. In the heart of our old house, nestled within the shadows of forgotten memories, lay a basement that held secrets darker than the night itself. Its walls bore the weight of centuries, its silence pregnant with the echoes of whispered horrors. But it wasn't until I stumbled upon the mirror that I truly understood the depths of its malevolence. The mirror hung upon the wall like a silent sentinel, its surface tarnished with age and neglect. From the moment I laid eyes upon it, I felt a chill creep into my bones, as if the very essence of the basement had been captured within its reflective depths. At first, I tried to ignore it, to dismiss it as nothing more than a trick of the light. But as the days passed and the mirror's presence grew more insistent, I found myself drawn to it like a moth to flame, unable to resist its seductive call. One night, as the rest of the house lay shrouded in darkness, I descended into the basement, my footsteps echoing like whispers in the silence. The air was heavy with the scent of mildew and decay, and the faint flicker of my flashlight cast eerie shadows upon the damp stone walls. I stood before the mirror, my heart pounding in my chest as I stared into its depths. At first, my reflection stared back at me, its features twisted in a mockery of my own. But then, without warning, it began to change, shifting and contorting into grotesque shapes that filled me with a sense of dread. I tried to look away, to tear myself from the mirror's grasp, but it held me captive, its silent laughter echoing in the darkness. And then, just as suddenly as it had begun, it stopped, leaving me trembling and alone in the dim light of the basement. I fled from the mirror, my heart racing as I climbed the stairs to the safety of the world above. But the true horror came later that night when I awoke to find the mirror standing at the foot of my bed, its surface shimmering with an otherworldly glow. And as I stared into its depths, I saw not my own reflection, but that of a figure cloaked in shadows, its eyes burning with a malevolent light. I tried to scream, to flee from the darkness that threatened to consume me, but it was too late. For in that moment, I realized that the true terror of the basement was not the mirror itself, but the darkness that lurked within its depths, a darkness that hungered for my soul and would stop at nothing until it had claimed it as its own.